DMZ is a dumpster fire. That's what I thought after crashing from my first game of the night. In this video, we're going to go over why I think that was. We're going to talk about what went right, what went wrong. But first, let me introduce myself. I'm Captain K. I'm an Escape from Tarkov streamer with over 8,000 hours. So let's get right into it. Did anyone else notice that Activision kept DMZ footage tightly to their chest? The sudden announcement shortly before release that it would be a beta, it became apparent to me on day one why. There is no reconnect feature for matches where the game just suddenly crashes. No, the game just crashed.
The application has unexpectedly stopped working.
When the timer runs out in about a half hour, that's a lot of progress to randomly lose it if you stay until close. If Activision wants to give me that Tarkov feeling, then randomly losing everything because the game is broken does a great job of that. Reconnecting will likely be in the game in the future, but for now it feels like, why invest heavily if you can suddenly lose everything and for the wrong reason? Take a trip on this raid with me where this exact thing happened.
I was gonna land on it.
All right, boys, land on the train.
No.
Players on the other front of the train.
I'm coming.
One guy down. I'm gonna apply pressure.
Grenade.
Two of them down over here. Oh, only one down. So I got them both.
Flash, nade, whatever.
He's down. Is that what's on the line?
Yeah. What do you mean it's in the northeast? Look at where the gas.
It's all right. Game just crashed. Game just crashed.
Where
I fucking hate this game.
Game crashed? You. No, the game just crashed.
The application has unexpectedly stopped working.
My game just crashed.
No, it did
It
not.
fucking did, dude. That's so bullshit.
You don't have to.
Whoa, my game just crashed. And if it isn't you crashing, it's your teammates.
Bruce.
Help cover this.
She's doing plates on my screen.
Endless plates.
No,
No.
that's... And if it isn't your teammate crashing, the server's on fire. What? Oh, I've crashed.
Whole server crashed.
I got kicked out.
It's no wonder Activision last minute fessed up that the game is a beta. Crashing isn't the only thing that leaves you with a bad taste. It's just general purpose bugs. Like when you throw an ammo box down on a train and it falls through. Or you try to extract with a hostage and the spawn is set on a building where you can't scale up it without the key. Or smaller bugs like things disappearing suddenly. That being said, it is a beta, so I'm not going to hammer this point home. I'm sure it'll get better with time. But that leads me to my next point. A serious issue with DMZ is the number of players versus the number of AI on the map. Hear me out. Warzone and DMZ share the same map. Warzone has up to 150 players, while DMZ has up to 66 players. Simply put, this is a lot of land mass for fewer players. To fill the gap, Call of Duty randomly spawns AI in all of your flanks from all directions to fill this player gap, and it just doesn't measure up. It's like when you go to get a bag of chips and it's filled with 43% air. But hey, at least you got DMZ for free. Well, in order to solve the problem with the map being so empty, there has to be a ton of AI to fill the gap. This is something that would be okay, except these AI spawn out of nowhere.
That guy just spawned right on top of this.
This is a challenge to juggle in a group, but it gets even worse solo. The solo experience just isn't balanced. You're constantly playing catch up when you spawn in fresh. Think you're gonna fight AI? Think again, the same punishing spawn mechanics make a difficult time impossible. There isn't enough ammo ready to keep you alive in AI waves with anything less than an LMG. You're constantly playing catch up with armor plates and it feels like you're struggling to keep the party going. Looting operators is a key part of the looter shooter extract genre. Because players can alt F4 and make their gear unlootable, it's a big disappointment to destroy a team and lose their gear because they rage quit. Couple this with an inability to rejoin the game if it crashes, and you have loot that is disappearing off the map constantly. If loot stays on the body and persists after disconnect, this game could solve such a simple problem with this core dynamic. At higher tiers of levels, DMZ has challenges that get tedious, but may be worth it to some for the blueprint skins and calling cards. I personally find the deliver X to Y dead drop missions to lean far too into a grind rather than enjoyable content. There is no hideout, so no sense of progression there, and there really isn't an in-game. If there was more involvement with the missions, like quest dialogue and lore, it would make the game feel more nutritious. Hopefully that comes in time. I want to take a minute and talk about what DMZ got right. The cover system by pressing T is insanely intuitive and works pretty well, shielding you from enemy fire. It's so smooth, I never minded the lack of lean options. Scope detail is the finest I've ever seen, and the motion blur between weapons is a realistic touch I haven't seen executed as well elsewhere. Being an amateur shooter, I enjoy the amount of realism that goes into how well the weapons of the game feel with things like kick and sounds. I want to say that the AI itself is smart until they're not, and I understand it's difficult to code good AI, but the AI definitely fights with a fervor. And if you walk into a medium range and piss them all off, then you literally are going to die if you don't get behind cover immediately. I rate a 5 out of 10 because the stability just isn't there to even really enjoy the experience fully, and there's not really a lot of in-game content. It's just a grind. This is a problem a lot of other games have had, like, for example, New World, even Escape from Tarkov in some ways, where you get to the end game and it's just not that fun, or you just realize that, like, the journey wasn't worth the destination. Anyways, I'm going to wrap up the video there. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Come follow me on my other socials, my Twitter, TikTok, etc. And I'll see you guys on the next video.